Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the family, I would like to welcome everyone to Alan's service this afternoon. For those that gathered here, and for those who join us through live view. As sad as an occasion this is, it's beautiful that we have the ability of social media and the internet, that in times of the pandemic where we have to gather in such small groups and we're not able to travel, it is a little bit of a blessing that we can share today in this journey. I'm Reverend Kathleen Barnard from East Hamilton Spiritual Church in Hamilton, and I'd like to thank the family for the honor of officiating Alan's service today. First, I would like to express to the family our deepest condolences from the congregation of East Hamilton Spiritual Church. Our prayers of healing are with all of you as you grieve the passing of your loved one. As spiritualists, we believe the soul comes to this earth with a purpose, to experience life. And when our time on this earth is complete, our soul returns to the spirit side of life. And as hard as it is to understand how some people leave this earth so quickly, and some, their journey is a little harder, that destiny is only known to the soul and its creator. One of the main reasons we come to this earth is to experience love. To love and to be loved. And the beautiful soul we know as Alan did just that. He lived his life to the fullest extent of that love. It was always present, even in his times of challenge, even through the hurdles he strived to overcome. His love always prevailed. Alan touched the hearts of everyone he met with his warm and gentle soul. And his love of family was huge, and always creating memories. Memories that will live on in your hearts and your thoughts. Memories that will sustain you through the heavy days ahead as you mourn your loss. Today is a heavy day, there's no denying that. Today we are held together with this invisible thread that links our hearts and our sadness and our loss. A loss that has touched so many. The family has received endless condolences and support, and it reminds us that we truly never know how many hearts we touch when we walk this earthly journey. Alan touched the hearts of those he knew and loved in endless ways, leaving his imprint to be remembered for years to come. And although that invisible thread of sadness and grief hold us now, the love of Alan wraps itself around us like a giant hug, and it'll carry us through this day and through the days to come. Alan may no longer be with us in the physical presence, but his essence, his soul, will always be but a thought away. We know his soul rests at peace, united with his Pauline and family and friends that have gone before him. I ask at this time if we could quiet our thoughts and just bow our heads and just hold Alan in our thoughts through our opening prayer. Divine Creator, who creates and recreates us, who laughs with us and weeps with us, who walks with us every step of the way, carrying us when our strength fails. We gather today with hearts breaking with grief. We ask that you cradle and comfort us today as we gather to remember and to say our goodbyes to Alan Duffield, and to give thanks for all that Alan has brought into the lives of those around him. Divine Creator, be the shoulder we cry on, the arm we can lean on. Help us to see through the heavy veil of tears to know that there is life beyond this life. Divine Creator, as mysterious and wondrous as you are also a compassionate God, as attentive as a hen with her chicks, as tender as a mother with her newborn child, as watchful as a shepherd with his sheep, and as protective as a father's warm embrace. Open our hearts and minds to the awareness of your presence as we grieve Alan's passing, surrounding us with your love to help ease our pain and to release our tears. And as we say our goodbyes, to remind us we are not alone. Amen. As each person is in this world, as we journey through our earthly life, I believe our service, our goodbye, should be as unique. And today I'd like to share Alan's journey through the beautiful writings of Ecclesiastes 3. There is a time to be born. Alan Duffield was born on March 31st, 1949. Amazing, that's just after World War II. When we think of what chaos our world was in then, and look at the chaos we have now. There's a time of living. Alan was in his 73rd year. There's a time to plant. Alan planted so many seeds of love through his love of family and friends, and through his laughter and joy through his love of life. And there is a time to die. Alan passed into spirit on Thursday, July 1st, 2021. There is a time to mourn. Left to mourn his loss and celebrate his life are his daughters Janet and her husband Randy, Karen and her husband Tyson, his 7 beautiful grandchildren, and his 5 wonderful great-grandchildren, his brother Roy and his wife Pauline, and his sister Andrea and her husband Brian, and so many nieces and nephews. You need to just look around this room and you can see the love that was created from one person. There is a time to love, and this is a time to let Alan's love for you wrap itself around you and allow it to carry you through this time of loss. And there's a time to remember. A time to remember the kind, gentle soul we know is still Alan. His laughter, his smile, his kind heart. How every day was a blessing to have such a wonderful person in our lives. There's a time to rejoice. Allow yourself the healing of rejoice, knowing that Alan is at peace. Knowing as he closed his eyes in this world, they are now opened to his spiritual home, to all the beauty and peace that surrounds him. Embraced and comforted in the love and care of his loved ones who have made this journey before him, who awaited his arrival with open arms and love in their hearts. Today is a day of sharing memories, of sharing our journey with Alan, however we knew him, as a father, a grandfather, a brother, an uncle, or just a friend. Those are what holds us together, the memories. That's what gets us through these tough times ahead. When I was speaking with Karen the other day, and she was telling me how much her dad liked to watch the Lobby Channel. And I had to chuckle because my mother was the same way. But you learn a lot about people watching them when you're in the lobby and they don't know you're kind of watching them. But that was what makes him an interesting character. You know, he loved life, he loved people, he loved journeys, he loved giving his children and his family and friends memories of him, so that when we leave this earth, we're not forgotten. So I'd like to welcome Alan's daughter Karen to come up and say a few words.
My dad, he's a hardworking man. Although he never really said the words, "I love you," you know that he did. I remember when I was 5 and there was a blizzard, Janet was super excited that we didn't have to go to school. Not me. I cried and stomped my feet. I wanted to go to school. So my dad bundled me up and took me to school. The snow was pretty deep and blowing, so he had to carry me there, only to have to come back at lunchtime and pick me up again and carry me home. Every year we had summer camping trips. One year, just shortly after the 7-Elevens had come into the neighborhood. We're up north. There's no 7-Elevens up there. So Janet and I were complaining about how it was hot and we wanted our Slurpees. And so Dad went to the store and bought a bag of ice, smashed it with a hammer, put the little ice chips into a cup, and poured pop over it and said, "There's your Slurpee." Wasn't like a Slurpee, but he tried. Well, growing up, we also discovered a way to get Dad to say yes. While having his after-work nod on the couch, if he was asleep, anything you asked him, he would say yes. So this is how we got to do things we normally were not allowed to do. Sometimes this got us in trouble. So we decided to start asking him, "Are you awake?" Which he would say, "Yes." So we still got to do the things we wanted to do. As Dad's dementia became more relevant towards the end of his life, he gave us a few laughs along the way. For example, the last few weeks, he was at home, and I was his caregiver along with Janet and my auntie Andrea. And at night we would watch either the baseball game or the hockey Stanley Cup playoffs. And then one day he said, the Blue Jays were playing, and he said, "Am I up next?" I said, "What would you be up next for?" He said, "Was it my turn to hit?" I said, "Yeah, Dad, you're next." And he rolled over and went back to sleep. So now we're on to the Montreal game, and I said, Montreal and Vegas. And I said, "Dad, this is it. If Montreal wins tonight, they're going for the cup. If not, it's going to be a forced game 7. He said, "Yeah, well, what's the score on the Leaf game?" I said, "Oh, Dad, they won." I can go on and on with all my memories. I'm sure everybody has their own memories of Dad. You need to hold them close to you now. And know he's always with you. Thank you, everybody, for being here and all your love and support over the last little while. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I know how hard it is to try to put into a little paragraph or a few sentences. It's hard to put a whole lifetime of memories, especially today when it's so heavy. Janet, would you like to come up and say a few words?
I wasn't going to say anything today because my brain has been in a fog for the past few months, and trying to get thoughts together on paper was not coming, it wasn't working for me. But I would like to start out by thanking everyone for all the love and support over the last few weeks and months, and for joining us today to celebrate the memory of our amazing Dad. It means a lot to Karen and I and our families. Dad was a man of few words and usually a quiet guy, but he made sure we heard him if we had ticked him off. He was sincere, straight to the point, and a very hard-working family man. Growing up, there was hardly a time we weren't hanging out with family, grandparents, aunts, uncles, or even those friends that became family. And a few of them are here today, and thank you so much. He and Mom loved road trips, so much that even when Hurricane Hugo hit Myrtle Beach, we still didn't cancel our vacation. He said it was going to blow over. It replays in my head like a version of National Lampoon's Vacation. Karen and I arguing over which tape to play, New Kids on the Block or Skid Row. And then I don't think any of us knew the extent of damage a hurricane could cause until we got to near our hotel and were stopped by armed guards who informed us of a curfew. Well, of course, Mom at that point was flipping out. With no hotels available and no power anywhere, we headed to Georgia and then the next day down to Daytona Beach, Florida. My biggest memory of that whole trip was my dad in his little black Speedo and his inflatable yellow raft running down to the beach and then getting in the water. Another time we rented a cottage up north in Point Barrel, and I remember fishing off the dock with him. He wasn't getting any bites, but I was. I felt bad, so I'd make him hold my rod so at least he could feel the tugs while I ran back and got us beers. So many great memories that we'd be here all week if I was to start babbling about them. We had buckhorn, Collingwood, camping, cottages, day trips. We love you, Dad. We hope you've reunited with Mom and are going on many more road trips together. Thank you again for all coming.
Thank you, Janet, for sharing that with everyone. That's beautiful. Speedo is embedded in my head now.
You look good in it.
Listen, you can rock a Speedo, but that's a memory you want to keep. Would any other family members like to come forward and share something unique or something that you remember, or something that just in the moment you feel that you want to share with everyone? That's okay. It's a heavy day, and sometimes the memories are sitting there a little blurry, or the needle gets stuck and we can't get past what's happening today, but those memories will come back to you in floods sometimes, maybe in little snippets. But that's what keeps that person alive in our heart and in our mind. And it reminds us the impact that that person had on our life. So keep those memories and share them as you move forward past today. Today is heavy. It's one day in Mr. Duffield's life, but remember the thousands and thousands of moments that he was healthy and alive and present and sharing his laughter and his joy and his big heart with you. The family has chosen today. We aren't going to have music, as Karen said. He had so many different things that he liked, and I can hear your mom up here with, why didn't we have the Beatles? But that's okay. So I do have some closing remarks today before we finish our service. Knowing how important family was to Alan, I would like to share with you a story that reflects how I feel Alan's love is for all of you. Has everyone heard, or anyone heard, the legend of the Cherokee Indians' youth rite passage? Have you ever heard that story before? Little indigenous boy, his grandfather takes them into the forest, blindfolds him, and leaves them alone. He's required to sit on a stump the whole night and not remove his blindfold until the rays of the morning sun shines through it. He cannot cry out for help to anyone, and once he survives the night, he is a man. So this is how they come into their manhood in this community. He cannot tell the other boys of this experience because each lad must come into manhood on his own. The boy naturally is terrified. He can hear all kinds of noises. Surely wild beasts must be all around him, he thinks. Maybe even there's a human that might do him some harm. So his mind is just racing, but he stays. He stays in the darkness and he stays still. The wind blew the grass and the earth shook his stump, but he sat stoically, never removing the blindfold. It would be the only way, he believes, he can become a man. Finally, after a horrific night, the sun appeared, and he removes the blindfold. It was then that he discovered his grandfather had been sitting on the stump next to him. He'd been watching the whole night, protecting his grandson from harm. It reminds us that we too are never alone. Just because we can't see something doesn't mean that it's not there. So I say to Alan's family and friends, even if you can't feel Alan's presence right in this moment, know that you are never alone. He will always be watching over you, sitting on that stump right beside you. Corinthians 2, chapter 5 says, "For we walk by faith, not by sight." There will be moments as you move forward, maybe you'll hear his voice, or maybe you'll have a beautiful dream, or maybe you'll find a long forgotten trinket that he's left for you, or a birthday card, or a letter, or a memory, or a photo, and you'll feel it here. That's his way of saying, I'm still here. Maybe he had a favorite car, or a favorite boat, or a favorite place that he liked to go, and you'll see the name of it, or the color of it. That's how Spirit communicates with us and says, I haven't left. I've left my physical body. I've left this earth, and I am now free of the suffering and the pain that I was experiencing at the end of my life. And for that, we are grateful that he no longer suffers. But the love, the emotion, the memories, that's what keeps us together forever. So I'd like to close in prayer today. Friends and loved ones, go now in peace, knowing that Alan's soul is free, and it soars like an eagle to the heavens above. May Alan's memories uplift you when sadness resides in your heart. May Alan's presence be known to you in countless ways, and may Alan's love heal you. Amen. I want to thank you today for coming out and sharing in the healing that will take place as you move forward, knowing that Alan is at peace and that he's free from whatever was happening physically in his body. Because I know that was hard for you girls to watch at the end, especially as daughters. I know, Karen, that you're a caregiver, and I know it's so easy to detach when we are in the profession, but it's different when you are on the other side of the fence and you are a family. So please know that his love wraps all of you today and links all of you together in his memory. So thank you for coming today.
This now concludes the services for Alan. We just thank you for your continued support of Karen and Janet, and you're a real blessing to them. Thank you for being here. Sherry has put together the registry book and some cards for you. So, as you're ready, we'll take care of that when you leave.
Thank you so much.